Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's
Kickstarter update. Hey everyone, this is Trevor here to give you the newest update for Indie Pogo. The theme for today is menus, 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 menus. And that's because as we get closer to release, that's about all that's left for now. And while that may not be quite as glamorous as announcing new characters, our goal is to insert as much personality as possible. We want the world of Indie Pogo to be alive and vivid, so we're doing our best to add as much polish as we can. So let's go ahead and dive right into the shop. You may recall from our previous update that we added a results screen, where you can get coins for winning matches. This is the primary place where you're going to spend those coins. Each item icon shown represents a new character, stage, taunt, or alternate costume. Certain characters can also be unlocked by accomplishing specific objectives in the game. If you're looking for hints, you can actually talk to the shopkeeper for some advice. For a price, of course. You may have already noticed, but we took the time to have the shopkeeper's mouth animate when the text is building letter by letter. The shopkeeper also has a variety of emotions depending on what kind of advice he's giving. When talking to the shopkeeper, you can also ask him to shuffle some items around to see if he has anything else for sale. This is especially useful once you buy some of the items on the table, because he only restocks his wares every so often. So let me buy Tesla Kid real quick, and there you go, look at that. Weltaro from Downwell has his boots appear. You can also give the shopkeeper a secret code. When the time comes, this will be where Kickstarter backers unlock their exclusive skins. And of course, there may be a couple Easter eggs in there if you input just the right password. For now, we'll let you guys figure out some of the secret codes on your own. Also, for able-eyed indie fans, this shop screen may seem somewhat familiar. That's because it's been adapted to resemble the shop from Jack the Reaper. Even our menus have cameos. Next up is the battle menu. I should clarify that this screen is still a work in progress. There are still quite a few elements missing, such as animation and characters, but we will get into all of that in just a bit. The goal for us was to create a stadium lobby, and within this lobby, this is where players are going to choose from different game modes. The central section is focused on local gameplay. Enter through those sexy red doors to fight against friends or against computer AI, or a combination of the two. Now, if for whatever reason you can't get a group of friends together, you can jump into an online lobby to fight friends and foes around the world. And if you're somewhere away from Wi-Fi, you can take an elevator to some single-player modes. The list of game modes here is subject to change, as these modes have not been fully developed. However, I can say that we plan to have some things here that are familiar to fighting game enthusiasts, as well as implementing modes that are unique to Indie Pogo. We also built a nifty little menu to help keep track of each character's records in the single-player modes. And if you're a big fan of analyzing fighter stats, we've got a screen for that as well. You can peruse through cumulative stats, or you can look at individual characters. And just as a side note, I've been deleting my data for testing purposes, but this screen is all hooked up and is functioning properly. Now, a major chunk of our time spent since the last Kickstarter update has been dedicated to the online mode. It's been really important for us to make sure that it's very easy for you to find a match with a stranger, or to be able to invite friends that you can't play with locally. The options are pretty straightforward. You can host a room, which can either be public or private. You can join a public room from a global list, and there's the ranked mode, which will not be available on first release. Basically, we just need to make sure that there are going to be enough people playing online in order to make sure we have healthy matchmaking. As the host of a room, you're the only one allowed to change the game's options. You can alter input delay as a way to compensate for lag between players. Essentially, it gives each computer a wider window of time to respond to player input. By default, each room starts as a 1v1 on private. That way, you can invite friends to your lobby before the public starts to filter in. And oop, looks like I need some more Steam friends. Anyway, let's go ahead and turn this match from private to public. You'll notice that there's only one slot open at the moment. This is because the menu knows to open and close slots depending on what game mode is being selected. As the host, you also have the ability to toggle the options on the right side. This includes whether or not players can chat in-game or only in the menus, deciding which players can toggle hazards and supers on the stage select, as well as who has control over choosing the next stage. There are 3 different game types available for players to choose from: 1v1s, 2v2 teams, and free-for-all. We'll change it to free for all so we can give Chris, Indie Pogo's programmer, a chance to join the room. In the meantime, I should point out that the ping is the connection speed between you and that specific player, as we do not have our own dedicated server, but that still should help you figure out who has a slow connection speed. Alright, there he is. Now if for whatever reason someone joins your room and you're not willing to play with them, the host has the option to press A on their name to kick them from the lobby. And that boot should look familiar to all you eagle-eyed Freedom Planet fans. Assuming you meet the minimum amount of players for each game type, the host is also the only person who can start the match. But I'm actually going to cancel out so I can show you the join screen. All rooms that have been made public by their host appear in a global list for you to choose from. And while that may sound messy, we've added some filtering options to make it easier to find what you're looking for. We have this list automatically organized so players closer in proximity to you are shown higher on the list. In theory, this should help keep the ping between players a bit lower. This list auto-refreshes every so often. However, if you're looking to speed that up, there's a refresh button here at the top. And I believe that's about it for the online mode. If there are any online features that you would like to see, definitely want to hear about it. If we see some suggestions we like, we probably won't get a chance to implement them until after first release, but we want to start building a community for Indie Pogo Online. Earlier, I mentioned that the stadium interior is still a work in progress. One of the most important things that are still missing are all the NPCs from the cruiserweight tier of the Kickstarter. So now that we have a more concrete idea of how this menu is going to function, it's time for us to start animating you guys. Over the course of the next few weeks, we'll be reaching out individually to those of you who earned that tier. And for the sake of time, we suggest that you have an idea of how you want us to portray you, whether that's a pixelized version of yourself, or if you want to appear as an original creation. In the next Kickstarter update, we'll talk more in depth about our release plan, so stay tuned for more information on release date, platform information, remaining Kickstarter rewards, and more. Thanks again, everyone. See ya!